the more the merrier. Yeah, the more teams there are, the more butts are in the stands, right?
Seats. Yes.
In the seats,
buying
right?
tickets, sales, all of that stuff.
You know, I miss the days when the series was IRB sevens.
Yes.
I long for those days.
The 16 teams.
When we were 16 teams.
Yes.
And I can tell you, they were playing to packed stand to packed fields.
Yes.
Yeah. The stands were always full.
In a final World Cup qualifying game, and then at the 90th minute, that's when they say towards the end of the game, that's when they say you're actually leading at that point. Then you're actually told, actually, even if you win, this game is not gonna qualify you to the World Cup.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's not a qualifying game.
You know, like there's another tournament that's being created on the side that you're gonna play, and to me, that is very problematic. I think those World Rugby heads need to be investigated, because I believe there's something going on in there. There's some corruption. Money has been poured.
In addition to that, they need to be salimiwad.
I want to go to Stoons now and talk about upcoming changes to the series and how it will impact both the men's and the women's teams. And I don't know, no Mike, kama tuko na ile graphic. There's a certain graphic that we have. I want us to post it on the screen, because that graphic that World Rugby released reflecting the changes that are going to be happening this coming season was hella confusing for so many people, including people who are very seasoned rugby fans and even rugby players. So maybe Stoons, help us understand, like what was supposed to happen and then what suddenly changed before the tournament started, and how now this upcoming season is going to be formatted. Stoons, twende kazi.
Thank you so much again. I'll start by putting my sentiments across. I'm really, really a bit gutted, because why did they decide to change the goalpost at the last leg? Because I think the likes of our team, our men's team, USA, Uruguay, Germany, going into this tournament, they knew they were fighting to stay in the main cup. And all of a sudden, at the last leg, they changed the goalposts. I feel that was just really, really, really poor of how the setup was done, because they denied USA, Kenya, Uruguay were the ones who were gonna, were fighting for not to be relegated. And then you look at the likes of Germany. Germany is not even a rugby nation. Had it stayed in the old format, Germany would have actually joined the main 12 core teams. So I feel that was really, really wrong. So I'll try and clarify to the best of my understanding. If I get it wrong, somebody will correct me. The previous one was 12 core teams, and the 4 bottom and the 4 top for the Challenger series, they fight to see who's going to be relegated and who's going to be promoted. So when the 8 fight, the best 4 will either stay in the main series. So I think the new format, let me have a look. I can't see it.
So I think So the new format, from what I can see, it has.
And the new format has 8 teams, 8 men's team, 8 women's team.
Yes.
And they're gonna play 6 legs.
6 legs, yes.
Then then the other ones is gonna have 6 men's team and 6 women's team, and they're playing 3 legs.
Yes, that's where now Kenya is.
Yes, that's where Kenya is, and then the other one, it's got. Just remind me how many.
So there's another leg where it shows
Div 2 and Div 3.
So there's Div 3. Div 3 just has 16 teams, 8 men and 8 women, and they will play 1 tournament. There's just 1 tournament for that.
Yes. So my understanding is the Division 1 or the main cup, all of those ones will play the six legs, and then they'll go down to the 3 ones.
Yes, then there's 3 legs where there'll be 12 teams.
I'm sorry, I'm just talking from, I'm not seeing it. If I was seeing the image, I could be able to explain it better. So anyway, so what happens is the ones that are in the main cup definitely will qualify to go on to the 3 bottom legs.
Yes, so I think 4
correct.
out of 6. 4 out of
Yes.
all the teams in the
No,
cup
no.
will qualify.
All the teams in the one. Okay, let's put it as Division 1,
Yeah.
Division 2, and Division 3.
Yes.
So Division 1, all of them are gonna go down
Yes.
to the to the 3 legs
Yes.
that has 24 teams.
Yes. 12 men and 12 women.
That's correct.
Yes.
Then the ones who are in Division 2, where we are, they're gonna sift from 6 to 4.
Yes.
So the top 4 women and the top 4 men will drop down into joining and forming the 12.
Yes.
So the 12, okay, so where Kenya is, Kenya will have 3 legs, and if they qualify to drop down to the 3 other legs, there'll be 3 other legs where they'll compete the 8 teams from Division 1 plus the 4 teams from Division 2. Jerry, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Jerry,
And there'll be 3.
Jerry, I don't know whether you also had a chance to look at that graphic that came from World Rugby. From my understanding, is that 8 teams, 8 men and women are gonna be at the core. That's a total of 16 teams. They're gonna play in 6 legs.
Right.
And then all these teams are gonna drop down to play now in this other tournament.
Leg.
In this, not a championship. It's 3 legs.
The one I eat a championship.
Donator championship. It's 3 separate legs, and in those 3 separate legs, all those 8 teams, 8 women and 8 men, will be joined by another 4 women and 4 men from the Division 2 league.
From Division 2.
Yes, that where Kenya, both the Kenya men's and women's teams are gonna
Women's
be
are.
playing. So they're gonna join, and then this is gonna form like a new 3 series tournament, and then the ones who finish top 8 in that series
Yes.
now form the core
That's correct.
of the following season.
That's
I don't know
correct.
whether
That's correct, Ali.
yes. I don't know whether that's your understanding also, Jerry, because it was hella confusing. Yeah.
You know, that's actually you're right. I mean, just from the conversation with Anita's and yourself, I mean, you can really tell like it's confusing. For the average person at home, they'd be like, kwani nini naendelea hapa? And the way it came out was also leaves a lot to be desired. You know, on the week of the tournament, where the girls and the guys, I'm sure, they were looking forward to becoming going back to the core. You know, it can really put a spanner in the works if you're not mentally strong. You know. And I'm just glad that the teams were able to withstand that kind of, I would say, bad news. So close to the tournament, but yeah, you're right. So my understanding is exactly the same as Anita's. But I think where it's still a bit fuzzy is so the Division 1 teams. Let's say for the 8 teams, let's say you top the 6 tournaments, right? Because they have 6 tournaments, right? And then now you shuka there at you're down when you get to the championship legs. Now you've been joined by 4 other folks.
Yeah.
What incentive do you have to win in the first 6 legs? Because are you starting when you get to the championship legs?
Yeah.
Are you starting from scratch again? Where now nyote mko 12, are you starting from scratch again? Right?
I think Diane, I think that, to my understanding, is you start from scratch, which is actually going to be a bit exciting. But I'm not so sure about that.
But I think to Njeri's point is like if all of you qualify to that second tier tournament, to that now championship 3 tournaments, what incentive do you have of working hard
Right.
in these 6 tournaments
Right.
when all of you
Yes.
are gonna drop down there? Now, my thinking, and the here World Rugby, if you're listening, you're the one who brought this confusion. My thinking is maybe if you perform well, you're gonna be in more favorable pools. I think they might seed based on performance, and then that's how things are gonna go.
But
when they drop down to that 12 team tournament.
But what incentive will there be? Because if you're being seeded and still lose,
No, when you're seeded,
get.
when you're a top seed, that means whoever you'll be pooled with are weaker teams.
then
Yeah.
this weaker team
weaker
decides to unleash a whoopers.
No,
Then-
but that's
Because seriously, because then what probably needs to happen is, hypothetically speaking, the top guys are you. It's like you have a playoff. The top few teams that are good, you guys are safe. Guys are now fighting for these positions over here. So the guys who are down here, because you remember, we were fighting between the guys who are at the bottom in the core and division 2.
That
Those
makes
guys.
sense.
That make so
That
that
makes
these two
sense. Yeah.
mnapambana
Yeah.
hata mkitaka kuongeza mnaongeza division 3. So all of you lumped together, it's like the playoff that they have in the NBA.
It's called the plane.
That one.
Yeah,
You get the plane.
yeah.
That one would make sense.
I mean, like the way the format is right now, it made sense.
mother
But now,
one.
Jerry, maybe if I come back to you, what's in it for World Rugby? What is it that they're trying to get? Because from my amateur view from the outside, I'm like reducing the teams from 12 to 8. It's fewer people coming there. Like these teams that being big crowds, like Kenya, like Samoa.
Right.
Like if they're not there, the crowds in the stadium are the crowds in the stadium are smaller. There are fewer people. So I'm trying to make sense of what's in it for World Rugby. What is it that we are not seeing from the outside that they're seeing clearly?
You ask a very, very good question, because I'm right there with you. I do not see what they are seeing, because from my point of view, the more the merrier. Yeah, the more teams there are, the more butts are in the stands,
In the
right?
seats, yes.
In the seats,
Buying
right?
tickets, sales, all of that stuff.
I miss the days when the series was IRB sevens.
Yes.
I long for those days.
The 16 teams.
When we were 16 teams.
Yes.
And I can tell you, they were playing to packed to packed fields.
Yes.
Yeah. The stands were always full, and then even we had invitational teams that would come and clean everyone's plate.
Correct.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
So I miss those days, and not only did we have 16 teams, we had more tours. So we would, I think it
More
was
legs.
10 more legs, right?
Yeah.
I think at some point it was like 10. Yeah. And I think where they're going with this is probably a cost cutting measure, but I think that they're going to be it's going to dawn on them that they need the folks that are going to be playing in Division 2. Yeah. I think Division 2 is probably going to be more lively
And
than
exciting.
Division 1.
Yes, and that will be
Personally.
so weird.
Yes.
Like if Division 2 is now attracting bigger crowds
Yeah.
than the main cup. Now, someone explained to me, I was talking to Mzungu in the stadium, because, like Kenyans, we are also very emotionally involved in this. Sometimes with Wazungus, wow, they look at things from a different angle. He was telling me possibly the reason why they may have done that, and I don't know whether this is accurate. There's a lot of rugby heads here who are listening. Type up and let me know. They told me that what they're probably trying to do is that they're keeping this high-octane team. So these tournaments, and they're combining both men and women. So all legs will be both men and women.
Right.
So you have high-octane rugby for both men and women, and they believe, World Rugby believes, that this will attract more money from TV, from the people who buy the TV rights. I think the NBC because now with TV, now it's people outside the stadium who are watching, and that's where apparently where
money.
more money is.
Yeah, but Ali, have you ever seen a boring sevens game? I can't remember seeing a game that wasn't high octane.
Yeah, sevens.
Even if it
sevens
was
is
Chile
normally high
versus
octane.
Tonga.
Yeah, but now you see, I think with TV, people associate certain countries with rugby.
They want the big names.
People associate Australia, New Zealand, Fiji. So people associate South Africa. People associate those names with rugby. So I think that may be what they're looking at. And maybe let me hear from Shtuns on what maybe she thinks about this before I come back to studio to the rest of the panel. Shtuns. Yeah, I mean, what is your what do you think is in the minds of?
It does not make sense for me in terms of cost cutting, because the core teams are still gonna play 6 legs, then come and play 3 more. Then you have Division 2. They're gonna play another 3. Then there's that Division 3. So it doesn't make sense in terms of cost cutting. In terms of attracting more sponsors, rugby sevens is always late. So it doesn't make sense to me as well.
Okay, all right. We have a caller.
Now, we have a caller, but I wanted to read a post here. I don't know if you guys saw what Mike Friday wrote.
Yes, please say what Mike Friday wrote.
So
that's the former Kenya Sevens coach.
Yes.
Is he still currently coaching the US?
No, I think he stepped down.
He's retired.
He's retired.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what he said was,
Okay.
let's break the LA goalpost changing tournament,
Yes.
in quotes, down. On the men's, USA, Uruguay, Kenya would have earned their place back on the WSS, whilst Germany are robbed of the history-making opportunity, an emerging country inspiring other developing nations to persevere and dream. Kenya will have financial sponsor implications for not being able to take their place on WSS. USA and Uruguay will suffer negative funding adjustments, and Germany will have to start again. Congratulations, World Rugby Sevens leadership. You have looked after the Tier 1 boys club. On the women's, Brazil, China, and Spain would have earned their way back to the
core.
Yeah. Kenya Lionesses robbed of the opportunity to be on the whatever for the first time ever. There's a big negative financial and contractual implication for the Kenya Lionesses. Negative financial program adjustments for the other 3 developing countries, nations, ongoing when they were getting better by being on the core in the WSS. Congratulations, World Rugby Sevens leadership. You have successfully widened the gap. Changing goalposts mid-season is unethical and unprofessional. And last but not least, final thought: Ireland teams did not make it, but a Tier 1 who openly declared they are 15s focused and accepted they wouldn't continue to invest to stay competitive in Sevens ecosystem. Other Tier 1s have that choice, but World Rugby Sevens leadership chose to protect that.
Now,
Mike Friday.
Before we get to the caller,
yes,
and this is Shtuns mentioned this before. And even Jerry, why are they changing the goalposts in the middle right before the end of the season?
At the end.
So it's kind of like saying, like you're playing in a final World Cup qualifying game, and then at the 90th minute, that's when they say towards the end of the game, that's when they say you're actually leading at that point. Then you're actually told, even if you win, this game is not gonna qualify you to the World Cup.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's not a qualifying game.
There's another tournament that's being created on the side that you're gonna play, and to me, that is very problematic. I think those World Rugby heads need to be investigated, because I believe there's something going on in there. There's some corruption. Money has been poured.
In addition to that, they need to be salimiwad. How do you have the Kenya Lionesses win?
I know.
They won the Challenger Series.
Yes.
Alafu naambiwa, like you're saying, you know what? Get Division 2.
Division 2.
So I would have been okay. I would have been okay with them saying, this coming up season we're going to continue the same format, but then
The
the next season
we are going to
so from the
switch.
beginning
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
season,
So everybody
Simple.
knows what they're fighting for.
Everybody knows what they're fighting
Now
for.
Yeah.
Jipange according to
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Higher.
Yep.
0765 0765. Thank you for calling the One Mic Show. Name and where you're calling from.
Welcome to the One Mic Show.
Calling from San Diego, California. Muindi Waambu.
Oh,
Mogoka.
oh, habari yaka.
Mogox.
Habari yaka. You know,
Derry.
your
Hey,
accent.
Derry, how are you?
Hey, my darling.
Aya,
Hey, darling.
darling
Hey,
Kendo.
hey,
Where
darling.
you Nene?
Eh?
What do you mean?
All right, Sachit, talk to us.
Okay, so on whether you, I don't know where to start. I'm a fan,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
I think everyone knows that. I love rugby just as much as Konya and Jerry loves rugby. Except I don't have their time frame of going to the places they go to. But I love rugby to the point where I think I might have said this to you guys before. I shouted so much one time in Vegas that I had to have vocal cord surgery.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Rugby. Okay. Having said that, the format change, if that's the discussion we're having. By the way, I started a little late in joining you guys. I'm still at the office on a Friday evening at 7 p.m. Hapa.
Okay.
Surely.
Georgie was saying what I have felt all the last 20 years that I've attended rugby. I do it because I love rugby, but I also do it, and I think Georgie is in the same boat, and Jerry will say yes to this. I love Kenya, whether
Correct.
it's Shujaa or the Lionesses, and I love them unconditionally. Whether they do bad or good, I still will support them. Paka, mambo isha. So, this format change has really messed everyone up. This past weekend, I was in LA from Thursday, Paka Monday. This was the first time I've watched the least amount of rugby. Normally, I'm there from the morning Paka Usiku. Obviously,
Correct.
I was there
Yes.
from morning Paka Usiku. But going from pitch 2 to pitch 1, and you get distracted, and then there's this, and you don't know which games are being played on the other side and this side, and you want to try and catch one of the core games on one side. You want to not miss your team playing in pitch 2, which really didn't make sense. Was one of the worst decisions, I think, HSBC 7s or whichever people that made that decision. We've asked the players. We said between fans, we could have been there from Friday at the stadium, Paka Sunday, and just seen everything on the same pitch. Jerry, I don't know if you agree with that, but we could have sat in our section from Friday, Paka Sunday, and watched every game that was played.
That's
And
right.
that didn't happen.
That's right.
And I don't know if this was discussed earlier because, like I said, I apologize for calling Kidogo.
No, this is a
Late.
new twist, my friend. So real quick, so normally they have that
Yes.
kakitabu. You know that kakitabu that has the breakdown of ati hapa hivi he team hapa, and then you can always try to follow through that kitabu, and you know.
Of course.
Ile
Of course.
was that kitabu ing ama hiyo kitabu ni kama hata ilikutupa mbao, you don't even know whether you are coming or going.
Hiyo kitabu didn't exist on this.
Aha.
There was no. I didn't see a kitabu.
Wow. So there
Like a
was
schedule program
hey,
or whatever.
you know
Oh
that
yeah,
that
they
book?
used to be in
Yes.
Vegas. In Vegas, they used to be one.
All of them.
I don't know. I don't know whether in
Not
LA
even in.
I don't
Not
know
just
that LA
that. I
had
used to
one.
carry a pen to write freaking
Yes,
the
you
scores
write it,
down.
and that's how you get to know who's going next, because the winner of Group A anaenda na sijui na Group C sijui winner ya nini ama anaenda
So-
na hivi, then you'll know which actual team did what, especially, and you have to write it down, because if you don't write it down, you're
injured.
unless you go
You
to
don't
the
know. So
website
there-
or something. Yeah,
Rugby is selective hearing the organizers, because if you talk to the players, they don't like playing 3-day tournaments because the sevens players, the recovery issue and the long tournament is
Yes.
extremely hard on them. So on one side, the players are saying 3-day tournaments are really killing us.
Okay.
But on the other side, if you have a 3-day tournament, you're going to have the fans in the same zone, and they're going to go spend enough money at all the stands also, chakula na kitu yote, kinywaji na kitu yote. So, for whatever it's worth, if they say money is an issue, do you think we didn't spend enough money this past weekend? We spent a lot of money just, I don't know, getting there, staying inside the stadium, etc., etc.
Yes, and the whole day you're eating.
So
meals,
I heard Mike Friday's comments. He's right. He even said something about the people that actually started the Sevens. They would be turning in their graves thanks to the decisions these guys are making. On the other side, I heard one of the rugby guys saying, "We made this decision. It's a tough decision. Part of it has to do with the fact that they're trying to funnel. I want to say channel those core teams at the end. Core team. One of the core teams could be Kenya, and I'm talking men and women. I'm not just talking men, because it's because of 2028
Olympics.
Olympics.
Yes.
And Jerry, you and I were together in Paris during that Olympic tournament.
Right.
One of the best. That was the first time my daughter ever went to a Kenya rugby. She's never seen me do what I do at Kenya rugby.
She didn't know you had that side.
We were shielding her eyes at some point. We were like,
Can you tell? Can Jerry? Is that true? My daughter said this is the best trip of my life. And I've gone to different parts of the world with her.
That's amazing.
My daughter
At the
fell in
Olympics.
love with Kenya rugby.
Wow.
That is amazing, yeah.
And yet we are given a platform and we don't use it. But carry on, Sachit.
Wow.
So, what I want to say is, I think they're going to lose a lot of momentum. I've actually been at the LA Stadium when Kenya did not play. I'm that much of a lover of rugby. So I went to LA and watched rugby during the 1 year, last year I think it was
last
when
year.
they didn't play. And guess how many Kenya fans were there?
14.
10.
Okay.
Okay. And how was the stadium?
We were
without
together.
Kenyan
I even
fans?
have a photo to prove it.
Yeah. And how was the stadium
Can
without
you
Kenyan
imagine how
fans?
quiet we were?
Oh,
Can you
yeah?
imagine how quiet the stadium was? Can you imagine how, like, all the what do you call it? The photos that you keep seeing on Facebook of the Kenya fans
Yes.
from all the rugby photographers. Can you imagine? They didn't have that, so therefore they can't, let's say, market it in such a way where fans show up by force. This was one of the first times I felt, ever since we left Vegas, that we actually showed up. And this was also the first time Kenya Lionesses showed up,
Correct.
along with Suja.
Yes. At least.
So that's why there were so many people that showed up because of the Lionesses as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm talking Kenya rugby fans.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to lose momentum. And one day, all that momentum is going to go to, you know what? We might start supporting some other freaking sport. Sorry about my language. So,
You're good.
I don't like where rugby is going. And if they really talk to some fans who don't do anything but follow rugby, and I never played rugby in my life. Can you imagine? And the only thing I follow is rugby today. I played tennis for 20, 30 years of my life. I don't even go to tennis tournaments as much as I go to rugby tournaments.
how about cricket? Such it.
Hey.
I played cricket for high school. I played cricket for Jamhuri High School. But regardless of what I played in the past, I still love this sport, and I love my home. I shouldn't keep saying it because people know that. Anyway, bottom line, I think they're basically shunning away some of these teams with amazing fans. And when I say that, we obviously know Kenya's number one. But Uruguay is a nice team to watch. We used to have in the 16s Tonga. Tonga was basically
Tonga used to
Fiji watered
come with
down.
it. Yes. Tonga used to come with it.
And they used to be flamboyant on the field.
Yes.
We miss some of those teams.
Yep.
We miss all those teams. And the thing that they're saying that they're trying to funnel the best teams for
for the summer
Olympics.
Yes, which it has nothing to do with anything.
Doesn't make sense.
It
doesn't make sense because Olympics doesn't govern IRB or World Rugby or any of that unless they're throwing money at World Rugby saying we want X, Y, and Z, like you said, watu wamelipwa.
Inaonekana because at the end of the day inaonekana vile umesema that Kenya could be one of those teams in 2028, and that's why they're even concentrating on pushing everything within LA, because again Olympics is going to be in LA.
It's going to be in LA.
So and sevens is an Olympic game now, and they really are pushing. So this is about the Olympics. It's not about how the rugby circuit is supposed to be going. That's just the plain old bottom line.
Which to me it's like the dog, the tail is wagging the dog.
Correct.
Yeah,
unfortunately that's how I'm seeing it. Okay. I hope to God they eventually understand and hear people like us and attempt to change. I don't think anything's going to change until
in 2 years. They're not.
Olympics is over.
Yes. Then after that, they may come back and say, okay, back to square one. And then you imagine how far back you would have set teams.
Yes.
The fans and the whole everybody who's within that whole ecology system. That whole everybody. Because if you're someone who's
like I said, they're losing momentum.
Yes.
They've gained momentum in the last X number of years to get these stadiums full of people. They gained momentum to get there. And all of a sudden, they're basically pulling the cork so that they can drain all the people that come watch rugby. Not all, but as many people as, that support these teams.
They're throwing out the baby with the
I mean, now... Are we going to see as many Kenyans on the core team
circuit?
I don't think so.
No, absolutely.
When the core teams play the 6 tournaments, I don't think there's going to be many Kenya fans unless they're in that region.
Correct. You're not going to go out of your way. Yeah, you're not going to go out of your ways, to go watch the games.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe if you happened to be in, I guess, one of the cities when it's being played, and you're
then
like,
maybe
let me just go, because the incentive for us has always been that Kenya is playing, and then and other teams or people even come to watch it, and the Kenyans are gonna be there. It's gonna be exciting. Let's go.
Okay. All right, Sachit. Yeah, Sachit, asante sana.
Anyway,
Jerry, if you remember, Konya and I flew 18 hours just to Uruguay for 3 days of rugby, and then we flew 18 hours back.
That was a long trip.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Wow, you guys.
Yeah, it's like flying to wherever you want, call it, whichever destination, to spend 2 days watching rugby and then fly back, which is exactly what we did.
Yep.
Except Uruguay was a 3-day tournament, and was one of the best times. 8 of us. There were 8 of Kenyans in the stands. Jerry, what did we do? The whole stadium was singing Kenyan songs by the time we were done.
That's right.
All right.
And you guys didn't say Ruto must go? Just asking for Ali.
Thank you, Sachit.
I don't think Ruto was in power that time.
Okay.
We weren't talking about it.
Okay.
Maybe Uhuru was still in power.
No.
Pole, I'm not getting into politics.
Yeah.
Sawa.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sachita ameogopa.
Hapana, si mambo ya kuogopa. We are talking about rugby. Correct. I want to stay focused.
Correct.
Oh, thank you so much. Good point.
Thank you, Muindi wa Embu.
Yeah.
For those who know you better at that.
Sawa Mogoka.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much. Before
niko na Mogoka, kuja tu. Niko San Diego, kuja.
Na look what's bado ziko.
Niko mingi. I have 7 trees, guys.
Yes.
7.
He had lookwards. He came with them to LA. And we were eating
this
them.
guy Baniki.
He has a tree.
Alikuja mpaka na miwa.
Tangu yuwaga na kale kapikati yake.
Nilikuja na miwa.
Nasikia hiyo pickup.
Ile pickup ile alituroga nayo sana nini Vegas.
Sawa.
See you guys. Thank you so much. See everyone at Cape Fear, whoever's coming.
Yes, we're the end of June. Cape Fear.
Asante sana. Now as we get back to this rugby conversation, before we maliza this conversation on this change of of format, and I want to come to Stoons, and let me come to Njeri first, and then I'm gonna go
Stoons
to
amecheza na hiyo Zoom call yake.
I'm gonna go to Stoons.
I know.
Yeah, let me go to Njeri first. Now, there's talk of a possibility, a bright spot with these changes, and it's people saying that maybe, just maybe, Kenya might get a tournament, because they've not said where these tournaments are going to be hosted. And of course, with the Challenger, they've been hosting them in random places like Poland, like Uruguay, and none has been done in Africa, of course, outside Cape Town, South Africa. So is there a possibility that one of those three tournaments could be maybe Safari Sevens, or it could be integrated in a way that it's held in Kenya? Is that a possibility, and will that be of benefit to us?
That would be amazing. I think it is a possibility, actually. It is a possibility. Kenya draws a lot of people. The country itself draws a lot of people.
Yes.
We have the weather for it. Some of these tournaments have been held in the rain, in the snow, but we have the perfect weather for it. We are
Perfect
a country.
fans.
Exactly. We are a country that is fanatical about our sevens, so they would definitely draw a crowd, particularly if guys at home get to see these international teams maybe for the first time live. So there would be a lot of people who would be interested in that tournament. So I think it would be in their best interest to consider Kenya as a destination. We've had different places. We've had Cape Town for a long time, and I think Cape Town is amazing, but that's kind of played out. Let's go east, exactly, and experience the real Kenyan culture, because there it will be pandemonium.
But where will it be hosted? Kenya Harlequins and Impala?
No. You see, you know what? You know, there was a time.
Nyayo Stadium?
There was a time. You see, here's the thing, right? Whichever stadium it's held in, it has to be at the international standards, or the standards for rugby. And that's where we end up having that problem.
This new Talanta Stadium.
Our stadiums are set for, say, like soccer, but it's not set for rugby.
Even soccer, we'd been disqualified for a minute.
Again, hold on. I'm just saying that the way that we build them, even the ones that we're doing now, because Nini Nakam, what's this cup that's supposed to be coming next year?
African Cup.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a new
right?
stadium. I don't know when it's gonna be ready.
So the whole point of what I'm trying to say here is that our stadiums need to be at par to what the rugby fraternity or whatever the sports require. Then we can sell it to say, okay, after all, see Nisisi Tukoma Challenger Cup, Division 2 Nini, we have hotels, we have this, we have that. The infrastructure we have, it's the stadiums that we don't. The stadiums don't qualify. Our stadiums, as is, don't qualify, because at one point, I don't know if you guys remember, Safari Sevens had even been moved from Nini, ilikuwa wapi, Impala.
But Safari 7 has been moved from Harlequins. It went to Nyayo.
Nyayo.
It even went to Kasarani.
It had gone to Kasarani first, then is when it went to Nyayo. Because the whole point of doing that was to try to step it up to one kama leg ineza ingishwa part of IRB. That's where they were coming from. But we have international teams that come, even especially Safari Sevens normally, and I don't know if they still call it Safari Sevens anymore, but normally Safari Sevens, we have quite a bit of international teams.
There's a number of international teams that
and
come.
there's some teams that will that are invitational, right? That will come just for the fact that they want to come and play in Kenya. They enjoy the weather. It's the whole stadium experience, that whole thing that we get. The teams want to come and eat that up, so they really look forward to coming to Kenya to play in the tournament.
You see, I don't think I agree fully with what the direction that you went there. I think
see me after class.
Yes, Professor. Yes, nitakuja office hours. You see, I don't think that the stadium should be the big hindrance, because we've seen tournaments being held in honestly kind of subpar stadiums. if you think about the tournament in Uruguay, I mean, Uruguay is a beautiful country, but my goodness, it rivals Machakos Stadium.
Oh,
you
interesting.
know?
I did not know that.
Yes.
So unaona sasa
wow.
hizi ni
Yes.
sisi hatujuisi because we've always been
Yes.
told that
Jerry,
our
and even
stadiums
Munich.
can't.
Jerry,
At
Munich.
Munich was nothing to write home about. I mean, the
Oh,
crowd was
wow,
amazing, but
okay.
the stadium was really just, it was
Us
like a
guys,
high
we've
school
been told our
stadium.
stadiums are bad. Ama ni ubaguzi ya Afrika.
Even when you think about the tournament in Harare, when we
Yes,
qualified
the
for the
Harare
Olympics,
one I
Yes,
saw,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
That
yes.
one I saw.
nothing to write home about.
Even,
you know?
even Patch had a better stadium than that one we saw in Harare.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and all
and
of
Patch
these,
stadiums are bad.
Right.
But it was, but
right.
anyway. Yeah.
Absolutely, and all of these amazing tournaments were held there, and people enjoyed.
Yeah.
Now we are inaitwa na Kikuyu tunasema kuira.
Yeah.
Tunaira kuira inamaanisha for the uninitiated inamaanisha ni kama
Kujira.
kuira
Kujira.
yani kuira
Kuira is
inamaanisha ni
Kujira.
You're teaching me, sorry.
Yeah.
kuira inamaanisha ni like almost
You're
hating yourself.
Hating yourself.
Ni kama kujichukia because
Like,
now
nikichukia, like,
even your stadium is far above and beyond any of the stadiums I have mentioned.
Oh, then that's
So what are they
interesting.
using
Yeah.
as a standard? What's
Yeah.
the measuring stick? Because that's what we've always been.
because now your whatever has been debunked
so
about the
I
stadium.
think-
you
No,
have been
they've
debunked.
no. They've always
Yeah, so
told
that has
us
been,
that
that's
it's
what
not
they've said.
Yes,
But I think the standard, let's all agree that rugby as a sport has also had a racist background. And
That
thank
is
you,
true.
remnants.
No, that is true.
Yeah,
That is
you know,
true.
let's call it as it is. The remnants are there. And when you think about it, when you look in Kenya, before rugby got devolved to all the different schools, look at the schools that used to play rugby. It used to be schools that were formerly white schools. Lenana School.
The ones that had names like Duke.
Yeah.
And
Duke of York,
Yorkshire.
Prince of Wales, it was white schools.
Yes.
Rift Valley Academy, St. Mary's, before rugby got devolved to other schools. So let's acknowledge, and I think there are still remnants because some of these older people who are running World Rugby,
yes,
Um,
from those.
yeah, they're
They're
from
nostalgic
that
for
era.
the past,
fraternity.
Yes.
From that fraternity.
Yeah, it's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
So the idea, and I'm glad, and that's why I'm glad we got the likes of Njeri, who has gone into those tournaments to debunk that myth, because that's one thing that I had swallowed it, hook, line, and sinker, that automatically these countries that they're taking the Challenger Series, they automatically are taking them to better stadia than we have in Kenya. But clearly, from what you're saying, that is not the case. Let me let Stoons say, give a word or two. She's been a bit quiet. Then I think we have a call.
Yes, we have a caller.
Yeah.
Now 3813. You hold it right there.
Yeah, hold it right there. We're going to go to Stoons, and then we're going to go to the caller. Stoons, talk to us.
Yeah, ideally, I mean, it would make more sense for Kenya to actually host one of those legs. However, my question is, do we have what it takes, in quotes?
So Stoons, you're also in that school. You're unajira. You're
Hapana.
kuira.
No.
Her question is sarcastic.
Yeah.
If I understood it correctly. Yes.
Mulikuwa mumeongea mbeleni.
Unajua sini wa slow.
No.
You're saying we're slow. So you're saying we're slow. You're saying we're slow.
Before I take
Yeah.
this call,
Yeah.
that's what Changerians do. They fall for it, hook, line, and sinker, and then they don't read. But anyway.